Well, after seeing every possible bad quarterback play in the beautiful early games of Week 9, we're finally treated to some tastier matchups here in the late game section, Liz Loza.
I mean, I guess. Except Aaron Rodgers has completed, 6 of 9 for 35 whole yards and no passing touchdowns. This game, I mean, the Packers are scoreless right now. They are at 0, and this tilt against the Chargers had a line that moved from 46 up to 50. So Vegas, unless fireworks occur in the second half, which is always possible with Aaron Rodgers.
With these two defenses, especially, too. It's been a disappointing game from a shootout perspective. I thought that it would be a much more higher scoring contest, which turns out that not so much. 9-0. I'm going to hit on that game. We'll hit on that one right off the bat. I do want to remember everybody in the chat, we are paying attention to you. Send us your exciting takes, your questions. Vashon Sims, you're done with the Chicago Bears offense?
Vashon,
hey.
Girl, there is a whole lot of space for you to enter the bandwagon. I am too. I can't guarantee that I won't step back off and step back on, because that's just kind of how I do at this point in my life.
How it goes.
But join me. Join me in the misery. And here's a question for you. I want to know from the chat. If you are off of your number one team, for me and Vashon, obviously it's the Chicago Bears. What is the second team in the league that you're interested in? I don't care if it's about geography, but what team are you finding the most intriguing that you just automatically start rooting for? I want to see in the chat options, because I think we know that Matt Harmon is a lifelong 49ers fan. That's a good choice. I'm excited about the 49ers, but are there any other teams that are excelling beyond expectation?
Here's an interesting one. John the Hindu says the Rams are exciting for him.
That's my other team.
Their Patriots are boring. And then Danny West pops in with Go Pats. But hey, listen, I agree. The Patriots are kind of boring.
I would say the Patriots are boring, except the thing that, yes, they always win, but what's not boring about them is the way they manage to find a way to win regardless of the pieces they have around Tom Brady. That to me is super interesting. It's what chess game are they playing? I don't really spend my time watching televised chess games. I don't even know if that's a thing. I'm sure, does Twitch stream chess games?
Probably, I'm sure it does.
Maybe I should start watching.
How about this one? Brandon Lane says Saints are their number 2 team behind the Bears. Now, I have, as a strong person of moral principles and character, I have a certain code of ethics when it comes to this during my process to pick a team every year to be a lifelong fan of, and my side piece behind the Carolina Panthers is that they have to be kind of a little bit below the elite level. I can't be a Saints fan because that feels too bandwagony.
Is it also a little bit tough for you to root for the Saints because they're in the same division as the Panthers? So I don't know if I could really get behind the Lions or the Vikings or some other NFC North squad, because there's it just feels a little bit now you're messing with your cousin, and that's just not. It's not
and
legal.
a cousin that you're not supposed to like a.
And I got some hot cousins. I'll be real.
Jeez. All right.
Well, I mean, they're all I have 42 first cousins on my father's side. So
just math-wise, one of them is going to be hot. This is just stats-based. Vashon says that the Carolina Panthers are actually intriguing without Cam. I don't know. I mean, look, I'm biased in that one, so you'd have to tell me. I can't tell you that the Panthers are interesting without Cam Newton, and I got too many feelings with the Panthers. That's like asking me to be objective about somebody I've had a history with. You can't. I'm tainted.
Yes, and I also I love that Smooth 1074 said, "What's wrong with my Dolphins not tanking for Tua properly?" Ironically, this is kind of a part of the same conversation, because there was a moment in the spring where I was very intrigued by Chad O'Shea. And in fact, I have a team name that says O'Shea, a fantasy
That's
team.
That's a real tiny audience that joke is for. Because I would venture to say, I would venture to say most fantasy players are not aware who the Dolphins' offensive coordinator
Well,
is.
my knowledge is that deep, and so
Oh,
are
you're a
people who are in
professional.
the chat in the second halftime. Y'all aren't here for like the broad pieces of knowledge. You are coming for the real stuff. And I would say, Smooth 1074, the Dolphins are intriguing, as is one of their outside receivers, maybe one of the younger outside receivers. We'll get to him a little bit later, but can we please get back to this Packers-Chargers game now?
After we address
No is the
John
answer.
Bunting,
No.
Houston is a sneaky 6-3. See, they're a perfect team to get in on. Like if you'd got in on them before the season, that would have been a perfect one because they're a good team, but they're not like Patriots, Chiefs, Saints.
Also, while everyone else was hating on them for
Right.
the
the Bill O'Brien,
and the Duke Johnson trade that was really overvalued, whole bit.
What even is that?
And Carlos Hyde was like, oh, Carlos Hyde though is like a slimmed down. Therese Paylor on the Yahoo NFL podcast, Yahoo Sports NFL podcast, made a great joke about Carlos Hyde being like the divorced Carlos Hyde. Like he's not in the relationship anymore, and he's like slimmed down. He's at the gym. He's doing the Peloton, and he's like, "Oh, what? I'm fresh on the market. I'm like a new version of myself."
I'm looking good out there, and you are. I mean, listen, the Chiefs could use a running back who looks like Carlos Hyde right now. Just saying.
Are we going to talk about that backfield too?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
We could do that. Maybe we save it for the podcast. I don't know. It's hard to say. Let's get back to this Packers.
Oh, are we
Chargers
allowed now,
game.
Matt? Are you done?
Yeah,
Can we?
I think we're
okay.
done.
I just tried to open the show with it, but no big deal.
Hey, you derailed us with that whole thing that just happened there. That was on you.
But it was fun, right?
It was a hell of a lot of
I
fun.
just
Much
took us
more
on
interesting than
a joyride.
talking about. Look, we do have not much going on from a fantasy perspective here, although it's worth noting Phillip Rivers in this passing game, 9.6 yards per attempt, and they've been making some big plays downfield, and most notably to Hunter Henry and Mike Williams, who both have 75 and 65 yards apiece. I've been seeing a lot of like deep crossing routes that Hunter Henry has gotten loose on, and that is, of course, kind of his skill set. But also just goes to show you when the Packers can't get home with their pass rush, that back end coverage is not great.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Matt.
It's also not like a big deal to me though, from like a Packers Super Bowl perspective, because I think in the modern NFL, in order to be a good defense, all you need to be is opportunistic and be able to get sacks and turnovers. And this defense definitely can do that, but they're definitely not going to be, like a Patriots stop you, bend and don't break.
Also, they're limiting Rivers, although you might argue is limiting himself to 3 field goals.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like they're scoring on him.
Yeah.
They're getting big gains, but they're not. This is when I think we've seen from Mike Pettin in the red area of the field, he will put the clamps on. You can get there, but you can't. This is the bend, don't break thing you just said.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly.
Clearly
exactly.
not thinking of the point I wanted to make. The point I do want to make is like this was supposed to be a battle of the running back tandems.
Yeah.
And we aren't seeing. I have Melvin Gordon going in DFS, and I'm starting to schwitz. That means sweat. He has 5 carries to Austin Eckler's 4. It was kind of assumed, I don't know if you believed this too, but on the heels of Ken Whisenhunt being let go, that Anthony Lynn might choose to lean on the run a little bit more, especially given the matchup, because the Packers we know you can run on, and yet we're not seeing a whole bunch of that.
It's interesting because they're in control of this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a run-friendly game, but I think matchup-wise, there was definitely some statistical noise that you could run on the Packers early in the year, and I definitely think that they are a defense that you can get a little bit going on the ground, but they're not like the Chiefs where you can just totally barrel over them or anything like that. Also, I think they've just seen another matchup that they can exploit, and this happens sometimes. The offensive coordinators, they come together and they say, hey, let's take it a couple of different ways here, and using the vertical passing game seems to be the way that LA has landed on this one.
For right now.
For right now. It is only halftime, which is why you're watching a halftime show. Boom. Nailed it. Keep moving here. Is there any fantasy value, Anthony West wants to know, is there any fantasy value to Hunt since Chubb is so good? No. Do you disagree on this?
No, but from the man who thinks that stash season starts week 2, I'm surprised that you don't advocate more for Hunt, given the fact that the Browns can't win if they don't get the run game going.
Here's the thing. Well, okay, I think he's a stash, no doubt. Like, he should be owned in every league. But if you're
there it is.
But if you're asking me, like, if he has any individual fantasy value
Immediately.
a standalone value without a Nick Chubb injury, then I think the answer is no. And I think it's clear for a couple of different reasons. Number one, if the Browns offense was as good as we thought it, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up this game right now too so we can just kind of talk about it a little bit. It's just about to halftime, about 40 seconds left in the game.
I just did that. 34 seconds.
Love it. 34. That is just about 40, some would say. Depends on if you want to round up by 6. Anyways, point being, if the Browns offense was going to be as good as we thought it was going to be coming into the season, then I think, cool, perhaps these two running backs can work in concert. But so far, it's not at all even close to that. And the only thing that is good about this offense is Nick Chubb. Now, he has 10 for 31 in this game. But he's coming off 2 big games the week before. Really, like, the only time they've gotten the offense going is when Chubb has been good.
Some might say he's the engine.
Some might say he's the damn engine of the offense, right? I mean, he's averaging over 5 yards a carry for his second year in a row. He's one of the best freaking backs in the league.
No lies detected.
So I don't think that they're suddenly going to be like, well, let me scrap Nick Chubb. I mean, they're stupid.
No,
they're making a lot of bad decisions.
But to your point, that makes sense. But when we talked about the Philadelphia Eagles last week, and we talked about the fact that they were not winning games, we also, you made this point, and I thought it was brilliant, was that they were trying to find creative, unique ways to win. And I think Freddie Kitchens knows that he is on the hot seat right now, and he might start to get all up in his head, like we've seen Adam Gase do. We've seen a lot of coaches start making decisions from a fear-based place, and that is never a good idea on the football field or in real life. And so I could see him thinking, okay, well, maybe we need to start getting Kareem Hunt involved, and we know that he's a great pass catcher, and so is Nick Chubb, and like trying to outthink himself because he wants to get crafty in an attempt to reverse what's going on.
Yeah, I tweeted this out, and I just wanted to bring it up again. Going into week 9, Baker Mayfield was, I got it on the screen here, 29th in adjusted yards per attempt, 32nd in completion percentage, 30th in touchdown rate, 31st in passer rating. This is among quarterbacks that have, relevant quarterbacks,
like
started a bunch, 100 that have thrown 100+ passes this season. But he's second in interception rate. I mean, he has been a stone cold problem this year. Like, and can you make his life easier with the running game? I get with just running it what? Like,
but
how much can they run
O-line is like also not blocking particularly
No.
well. So there's, and that is obviously attached to the run game. But Nick Chubb is, when the Cleveland Browns are able to get Nick Chubb over 4 yards per carry, they start to win.
They start to win.
And
their
that's not
quarterback, I
happening.
think, starts to calm down, too.
Sure,
like
that's a great point.
The Baltimore game when, gosh, remember when we all caught flack for telling people to sit Nick Chubb or whatever because of that whole situation? Because Nick Chubb has this awesome monster game, and that was Baker Mayfield's really only good game from a yards per attempt perspective, because he was able to calm down, hit some yards after catch throws, and really matriculate the offense.
And that is what made him so good last year, was when
Yeah.
he was able to corkscrew his feet into the ground, plant and pass, and he's not doing that. So
yeah, the problem is that I think that the Browns offense, this has spent a lot of time on Kareem Hunt, but I think the problem is that the Browns offense is so broken at this point. I don't think introducing another figure in there to try to make happy is going to be great.
I don't think it's going to be great, but I don't know that it won't happen.
They might just be stupid enough to do it.
This is the point.
So moving on, do you want to play a little tilted or jilted here?
Sure.
With some of the time that we have, I tweeted out asking everyone what's got you tilted so far here in week 9. We're gonna run through a few. Look, this one.
I'm reading the chat, and Scott is just on fire.
Oh yeah, there we go. Our guy Scott. So we'll get back to you later, Scott. How about this one? This one's funny to me. We got a lot of some similar ones, but this one stood out. Benching Kyler Murray for beef brisket. Of course, he means Jacoby Brissett. But Kyler Murray had a great game on. This is just like the weirdness of fantasy football. Like he go over 23 points this week after stacking 17 together in his previous weeks in pretty decent matchups. Now he goes against the best defense in the league. I don't get tilted about this stuff. People get crazy tilted about but it was the right sort of process of the decision. It just makes me appreciate how weird the sport is.
Also, it's a Thursday night game.
It's a Thursday night.
Thursday night games, short weeks, a defense that's really dominant sees a theoretically soft opponent and needs to catch their breath for a second.
Yeah.
They still win the game, by the way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I'm neither tilted nor jilted by that. I do think that the Cardinals offense has been slightly tilting, trying to predict it on a week-to-week basis.
outside of Christian Kirk, and that was not great either, right?
No, that wasn't great either.
So,
so nothing going on really there from that perspective. But
you want to talk about Kenyon Drake?
Not really.
Okay, I guess we're going to talk about Kenyon Drake. I think the only thing to say about Kenyon Drake is that this is an offense, as we saw with Chase Edmonds, that produces for the running back position. But Drake is never, this is my take, going to see more than 15 carries, which is what he saw on Thursday night.
Right, and Brandon Lane brings up a good point in the chat that also Jacoby Brissett did get hurt in this game.
Correct.
So you could have ended up with a pretty solid line altogether. Another one I want to do, we talked a lot about Mark Walton.
Oh, yes, we sure did. I answered so many stinking Mark Walton questions. Sorry, my earpiece is bothering me.
That's quite all right. So someone is very tilted. Matt Touchette is very tilted about starting Mark Walton over Devin Singletary. Are you tilted or jilted about the Mark Walton thing?
Oh, I mean, I was never on the Mark Walton bandwagon. The only reason...
I'm tilted because I was getting so many Mark Walton questions.
I mean, I've been jilted for life. I don't think from Mark Walton, because here's the crazy thing that everyone talks about the volume that Mark Walton is going to get, especially with Kenyon Drake out of this situation now, right? Matt made the point a couple of weeks ago that this is full... evaluation season for the Dolphins, and that's why Mark Walton was going to get so much run and the benching of Kalen Ballage. But you know what? Kalen Ballage still comes into the picture when the team is in scoring position. So that's the problem with Walton, is that he just doesn't have the touchdown upside. He is rarely on the field in goal line situations. So while he is theoretically moving the chains for a very subpar offense, the upside is, you're only playing him as a flex because you think you're going to get 15 touches, and running back is so scarce, so why not? But you look at Singletary, who's has a higher draft capital, is a better player. Yes, Frank Gore is seeing more of the goal line, so there's a similar situation, but I'd rather be attached to the mobile quarterback who can create lanes, and also the more potent offense, and frankly, the better play. His nickname is Damn Motor. He's gonna move the change. So I will often, regardless of matchup, lean towards Singletary, but also know that the upside is capped because of the touchdown situation.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that Singletary is a really good, intriguing talent.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and that offensive line is a different situation too.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, I want to stick in that same game because a lot of people on my Twitter feed wanted to talk about Allen Robinson being tilting. That is just a tilt to me. It's not a jilt. It is what it is. You know what you're getting into bed with Mitchell Trubisky. You got banged pretty hard today. That's.
You didn't. In fact, you haven't been, whatted for a couple of years.
Yes. But also, Le'Veon Bell, I know a few people wanted us to touch on Le'Veon Bell. So I know we're going to talk about the Jets offense on the podcast tonight, Yahoo Fantasy Football podcast. Get that wherever you get those little audio contents crammed into your brain holes.
Or ear holes.
Well,
you shouldn't have holes in your brain. That's probably bad.
Via the ear holes into the brain holes.
But you should not have holes in your brain.
Well, it depends on what you did in college, but that's a whole different discussion.
Maybe you didn't go to college.
Or that. Anyways, so.
Ow.
The Jets.
My ear is now ringing.
The Jets offense. People are tilting about Le'Veon Bell's usage, but 17 carries, 8 catches. I mean,
that's usage.
That's usage.
That's a usage with a capital U.
Here's the problem: 3.9 yards per carry, 6.9 yards per catch. So are you tilted or jilted by one Le'Veon Bell? And let's take this the entire way, because let's take a little victory lap here too, Liz. You know what we got completely right this morning? Robbie Anderson. Because
both of us.
Yes, this offense is not the ecosystem that can support a deep threat like that.
Nope.
And overall, no more Jets. No more Jets. A couple of years ago, Jets fans got upset at me because I wanted to instill the #NeverJets movement. Just don't draft any Jets on your fantasy team. It might be back. Honestly, you can own some of these guys. Obviously, you're keeping Le'Veon Bell in your rosters. You got Jamison Crowder out there doing his thing. Sam Darnold, he's going to be in streaming consideration every once in a while. But
I mean, Jamison Crowder is gonna kill whatever defense by the death of 1,000 paper cuts, or at least that's the attempt every damn week. He has a touchdown and 80-some yards.
It is just brutal. I mean,
it is just evidence though that Adam Gase loves to funnel his offense through the slot. That is just what happens, and maybe some of this is being made larger because of the offensive line issues that we mentioned on Fantasy Football Live. But I'll tell you what, if you are upset about Le'Veon Bell having over 100 total yards, give me other running backs that are surpassing 100 scrimmage yards right now. I mean, What is? I'm hold on. You keep going. I'm gonna see where he's at right now.
Well, I just want to tell everyone, change the subject here. Tyler Lockett has scored a touchdown. DK Metcalf has scored a two-point conversion. I think that's 2 touchdowns today for Lockett, who is amazing. All the haters, I remember you guys. I'll never forget you.
There are no haters.
There were haters.
Stop.
There were haters. There were Tyler Lockett
Stop.
haters, and they're gone now because Tyler Lockett is healthy and he's great. And so this is I'll be doing the same thing again with Curtis Samuel once he gets a real quarterback at some point too. So Liz, you better come up with your point quickly, or I'm just gonna.
I don't know where Le'Veon Bell is right now in terms of RB on the week, but he has over 100 yards, and that's pretty dang good.
Take what you basically. It's the Jets' offense. Take what you can get out
No,
of it.
but I mean honestly, 100 scrimmage yards, like that's great.
Yeah.
For the running backs
Well,
in a week where every team is on bye and people are hurt all over the place and there's platoons left and right.
Yeah. Ryan Moody sums it up well. If you have Bell, you have no choice but to start him and just eat it, but he's a bad keeper, first rounder, you live and learn. Yeah. Bad offenses, this is what can happen.
The Chicago Bears for Illinois State. They could play no worse.
There we go.
I love you. Wait, what's that guy's name? Harry Von Beets.
There you go. Well, that is going to do it for our late game
Are you
halftime
serious?
stream.
We're done?
Yeah, we're done. We're done. We have to do early pickups. We have so many other things that must be done. Plus the games are starting, and I'm trying to go watch Tyler Lockett rip through this Bucs secondary.
Played him in DFS. I'm loving it.
Me too,
No, you
my
didn't.
friend. Yes. Well,
You not play him in DFS. Not
in a
Guru.
different contest,
Okay.
not the FFL Guru Fake Challenge.
It's not fake. Just because I'm winning doesn't mean that it's fake.
Well, you're in 3rd place, right?
It's time to go, kids.
It is time to go. That is going to do it for our late game halftime stream. Thank you all for coming and hanging
Thank you,
out.
Brandon.
We appreciated all of the interaction. You guys are the best.